The conflict between Iran, Israel, and the United States has become one of the most serious global crises in 2026. What started as military strikes has now grown into a wider regional conflict, affecting not only the Middle East, but the entire world. This situation is dangerous because it involves powerful countries, advanced weapons, and very important global resources like oil. The war began when the United States and Israel launched major airstrikes on Iran in late February 2026. These strikes targeted military bases, missile storage areas, and strategic locations inside Iran. One of the most important attacks was on Karg Island, which is a key center for Iran's oil exports. More than 90 military targets were destroyed in that attack. In response, Iran launched retaliatory attacks using missiles and drones. These attacks targeted US bases, Israeli positions, and even some Gulf countries. The conflict quickly spread beyond just one country and became a regional crisis. Iran also warned that it would target any country supporting its enemies, which increased fear across the Middle East. One of the most critical parts of this conflict is the Strait of Hormuz. This is a narrow waterway through which about 20% of the world's oil passes every day. Because of the war, Iran has tried to block or control this route. It has attacked ships and warned many tankers not to pass through. As a result, shipping traffic dropped sharply, and many oil tankers stopped moving. This disruption has created a huge impact on global energy supply. When oil cannot move freely, prices go up. In this crisis, oil prices quickly crossed $100 per barrel and even reached higher levels. This is a big problem because oil is used for transport, electricity, and production. When oil prices rise, everything becomes expensive, including food and daily goods. Countries around the world are now feeling the effects of this war. Governments are worried about inflation and economic slowdown. The International Energy Agency even released millions of barrels of emergency oil reserves to stabilize the market. This shows how serious the situation has become. Another major issue is attacks on ships and oil facilities. Several commercial ships have been damaged in the Persian Gulf. Oil refineries and ports have also been targeted by drones and missiles. These attacks not only stop oil production, but also create fear among companies and workers. At the same time, the war has caused massive human suffering. Thousands of people have been killed or injured. Many families have lost their homes due to airstrikes. Millions of people are being forced to leave their cities and move to safer areas. This is creating a humanitarian crisis, with shortages of food, water, and medical care. In Iran alone, millions of people are reported to be displaced because of the war. Refugee numbers are increasing in nearby countries as people try to escape the violence. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and emergency services are struggling to cope with the situation. The conflict is also becoming more dangerous because it is expanding geographically. Fighting is not limited to Iran anymore. There are attacks in Lebanon, Iraq, and other nearby regions. Armed groups like Hezbollah are also involved, making the situation more complex. Another important factor is the involvement of global powers. The United States is directly involved in military operations. Israel is also actively conducting airstrikes. Other countries like Russia and China are watching closely and calling for peace, but tensions remain high. There is also pressure on NATO and other allies to take action to secure oil routes. Despite heavy attacks, Iran's government is still strong and continues to resist. Reports show that Iran is maintaining control over key areas and continues its military operations. This means the conflict may not end quickly and could continue for weeks or even months. Interestingly, even during the war, some oil shipments are still moving under special arrangements. For example, certain countries have managed to send oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz safely after negotiations. However, these are limited cases, and the overall situation remains unstable. Economically, this war is being called one of the biggest energy disruptions in history. It has already affected stock markets, global trade, and transportation. Airlines are changing routes, shipping costs are increasing, and many businesses are facing uncertainty. The biggest fear right now is that this conflict could turn into a larger global war. If more countries join the fighting, the consequences could be severe. The Middle East is a very sensitive region, and any escalation can quickly spread. In conclusion, the Middle East war escalation is not just a regional conflict, it is a global crisis. It is affecting energy supplies, economies, and millions of lives. The situation is still developing, and the future remains uncertain. World leaders are calling for peace, but until a solution is found, the risks will continue to grow.